Second graders, we're going to start our math lesson for today. This week we are going to continue learning about bar graphs for just one more day to make sure that it really sinks in and you understand how to read them and get a little bit more practice actually drawing them ourselves and making sure we have all the correct labels for them. So let's take a look at what we need to do. The directions at the top tell us that Ella is making a bar graph to show the kinds of pets her classmates have. And down below it gives us all of the information. We know that 5 classmates have a dog. We know that 7 classmates have a cat. 2 classmates have a bird, and 3 classmates have fish. So we have all of the information that we need, and we're going to go through and answering the questions that are listed down below. Number 1 asks us to write labels and draw bars to complete the graph. Now, some of the work is already done for us, but we're going to make sure that we talk about all of the correct labels that a bar graph needs and how to fill it in correctly.
Because I think on the back, they have to fill these in on their own, huh?
They sure do.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mrs. Grant, can you tell me, what do we have at the top of the graph there?
So at the top of our graph is our title, and that's going to be on the top of every bar graph. And if it isn't there, you have to write it there.
Okay.
Yeah. So for this one, since we're talking about pets and what the different pets are that the students have, we decided to label it our pets. So if you want, you can go over the dotted lines just to practice writing out your title, because you're going to have to do that on the back.
All right. So one of the things you have to have for a bar graph is a title, but we also need to have labels on our bar graph. All right, so tell me about the labels. Why did you choose to write number of classmates here?
Well, because the numbers are going up the graph.
Okay,
Yes.
and
So
those numbers
represent how many students have that pet. So we need to know what these numbers are. What are they talking about? Well, I look at the label and it tells me this 4 means that 4 students have that particular pet.
awesome. So we wouldn't just write numbers. We're
No.
going to tell what that number
What does that number represent?
represent?
Number
Got
of
it.
classmates.
Okay.
And then down here at the bottom, you can see we have the labels dog, cat, bird, and fish. So this whole bottom part is labeled pet because this tells us how many students have it, and this tells us what pet those students have. These kids have a dog, those kids have a cat, bird, and fish.
Okay. So we have our labels. That was part of question number 1. But it also says that we need to draw the bars in order to complete the graph. I'm noticing there's 1 bar done already.
Yeah, they've done dog for us, which you can see that 5 classmates have a dog, so they filled in the bar all the way up to the 5 line. So now we just have to do the other 3 animals.
Okay, well maybe I could read it to you and you
Sure.
can put it on the graph. It says 7 classmates have a cat.
All right, so I would take my bar all the way up to 7, and I would just fill it in. You can do this as neat as you'd like. Neater than mine is fine.
All right, the next one says 2 classmates have a bird.
Okay, so I'm going to come down to 0 and go up to the 2 line. Fill it in to the bottom.
Okay, and then finally 3 classmates have a fish.
All right, go to the 3. All right, 3 classmates have a fish.
All
Looks
right.
like my bars are drawn.
That looks pretty good. So we did everything for question number 1.
Yeah.
So if you are working at home right now, you need to make sure that was a lot of different things that you needed to do on that bar graph. Let's take a look at number 2. How will the graph change if 1 more child gets a bird?
Well, right now, 2 children have a bird, 2 classmates. So if I were to add one way it would change is now they have 3. Now there's 3 classmates that have a bird. And also, the same amount of students who have a bird have a fish. So there's 3 classmates with a fish and 3 classmates with a bird.
Okay.
So there's 2 different things.
Yeah, 2 different answers. I like how you compared it to the information that was already on the graph. That's a great way for students to kind of look at different information and find something that's similar.
Okay.
Well, I think that was like an okay question, but I have a challenge for you.
Oh, and would this challenge be required to answer something on the back of the page?
Sure is.
So should they pay really close attention to this?
If they want to do well on the back of the
Okay.
page.
I'm ready.
You're a quick learner.
I am.
Okay. I want to know, did more students choose a bird and fish, or a cat.
So when you say a bird and fish, you mean I should add the amount of students who chose a bird and a fish together
Yes.
and then compare that to the amount of students who had a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tricky.
That is tricky. So 3 students had a fish,
Mm-hmm.
2 students had a bird. 3 plus 2 is 5.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 students total had fish and bird.
Yep.
And I'm going to compare that to cat, which 7 students had.
Yeah.
So more students had a cat than had a fish and bird combined.
You're right.
Yes.
Excellent way to answer that question.
Hello,
Boys and
everybody.
girls,
I'm
there-
Trish in the front office. This is just to let you know that today
We got interrupted, but this is the end of the video, so good luck on the back. We're not doing another one.